In late 2019, I started making a port of HTML5b into HTML5, and I finished all of 2 menu screens before I lost interest and moved on to other things. Then Zello101 started making his own remake of 5b in HTML5, but it was coded completely from scratch and was also never finished. In January 2022, though, I ran 5b through an SWF decompiler to get the music file, but then I realized I now had easy access to the original code and assets from the original game, and decided to try porting it to HTML5 again, and see how far I got before I lost interest. Over the next couple weeks, everything related to the gameplay was implemented, and it was to a point where it really looked and felt pretty much the exact same as the Flash version. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to go further. The original 5b level creator was never finished, but it did have some code and interface stuff in it already. It just wasn't accessible from the menu. So I used that as a starting point and added the rest from there. It's been about 3.5 weeks since the first level creator beta was released, and functionality-wise, it's pretty much done. I still have a short list of small things to fix with the editor, but they're all mostly pretty minor things that won't affect much in terms of, the editor itself. So now that the level creator's done, what's coming next? Well, once I'm done with the list of fixes, I'll move on to another list with some much bigger, broader things in it. I have them roughly in the order I'd probably want to do them in, but there could be some overlap between when I'm doing them, and also I could just ignore the order entirely for some of them. But anyway, here's the list. Some people have suggested that I add a zoom feature to the level creator, and I do plan on adding it at some point. The only reason I haven't done it yet is because the explanation is kind of long. Read this if you're curious. So then there's obviously going to be Explore, the one button still left grayed out on the menu screen. Explore was originally going to be a place where people could share their levels and play levels that other people had created, but as we all know, it was never added to the game. I was originally tempted to code it all myself, but I have no experience with server code and databases and all that, but Zello101 and I'm a Person do, and have already made 5b database servers before. So I don't have to figure out myself and spend an extra month doing what they've already done. So while I won't have to worry about that part, there's still the issue of the interface and how it looks and all that. I haven't actually thought about this all that much. I do have a vague idea in my head of how it could look, but I haven't actually thought of anything concrete yet. I'll probably start seriously looking into it as soon as work on Explorer actually starts. I also haven't looked into Zello I'm a Person's 5b level database servers at all, so a lot of my thoughts about Explore have been sort of cut short because I don't know enough about them. Again, something I'll start more seriously thinking about once I actually get to working on Explore. Okay, next thing. You may have noticed that the style of buttons in the Options tab in the level creator is the exact same as the style of button in the main menu screen. The actual only reason for this was because I wanted to add a button there, and it was fastest just to reuse the button style from menu 0. It was never intended to be final, but I've decided that a good time to change it might be when I add a button for sharing to Explore, when Explore is being added. Yeah, that's kind of it. Adding a way of saving your created levels locally is something a few people have asked me for, and I agree it would be a nice new feature to have, but I want to save adding it until partway through Explore. So I can create a similar menu with your levels that load into the level creator instead of other people's levels that load into the level player. I don't know if doing it in this order feels right to anyone else, but it does to me, so that's probably the way I'm going to be doing it. A few people have also requested a way to edit whole level packs, but for similar reasons to the zoom feature and local level saving, I put it here in the list. Editing level packs is also sort of depends on local level saving, so it wouldn't make much sense to do it before it. And also there's the whole thing of figuring out how to actually play a custom level pack. It's gonna be a whole thing, but I'll probably still be able to do it once I get to it. The last thing on the list is actually sort of a separate project, more having to do with expanding the game than the game itself. Essentially, the characters' models are defined by this terrifying big list of transformation matrices, which I've written by hand with the help of this simple JSFL for getting the matrices themselves, but I want to make this process smoother if I ever, for whatever reason, want to add more characters to the game. Using this JSFL, you could simply create the character model in Flash, then simply load in the JSFL to generate the character model JSON. I don't think coding such a JSFL would be too difficult, but I would want to save it for once everything is settled before working on it. So that's an overview of what's on the list. In the meantime, if you want to suggest little features or fixes for me to add to the level creator, you can post it in the HTML5b Discord server, which is where I've been posting most of the updates with the port, and be the place where I'd most likely and most quickly be able to see your suggestions. Or you could just tell me in the comments, I'd probably see it there too. Also, GitHub issues is a thing, nobody has actually submitted issues in the thing yet. But I will also see it there if you've submitted there. Now it's time for the part of the video where it abruptly cuts off.